Hi, and welcome to Knit All the Things. My name is Laurel. I'm also known as West Maven on Instagram, Ravelry, and here. If you're new, this is a space where I talk about all the things I'm knitting, all the things I want to knit, all things yarn, just all the things. And if you're returning, welcome back, Knitting Bestie. I can't wait to catch up with you. In this week's episode, I am over the moon to share with you my finished Tulip Guernsey pattern by Midori Hirose. Have all the details for you on that sweater. I also have the latest issue of Laine Magazine, and you guys are not gonna wanna miss my review on this one. And if that wasn't enough, I came across a really cool stash busting knitting book by Erica Berntsen. It is called Knitting Stylish Stuff from Your Stash. Honestly, try to say that 5 times fast. So we have a lot to get through. I'm really excited to get into it. So grab your knitting or project, get cozy, and let's go. Okay, let's talk about what I am wearing. I am wearing the Tulip Guernsey, a pattern by Midori Hirose, and I'm gonna get into all the details, but first I'm gonna put on a little bit of my lip gloss. We're gonna talk about it later, but I wanted you guys to see a before and an after. This is the OSEA Hyaluronic Lip Booster. So you guys see it now. We'll talk about it later. Okay, so Tulip Guernsey by Midori Hirose. I am so happy this is done. I felt like, well, first of all, my friend Lena and I did like a little quick cal, and she got hers done way faster than me. She's a fast knitter, but mine is done now, and I really like it. So I knit a size 3 and I use US needle size 10, and I chose that kind of based on Lena swatching and doing all the work for me. I just copied her homework, kind of. And I just decided I was gonna do size 10, kind of see how it goes, and I liked how the fabric was turning out, so that just was my plan. I did get a little concerned because if you look at the pattern on Ravelry, Midori uses 5 skeins of Purl Soho Linen Quill, this color, Poppy, and she holds it double. So it's a fingering weight held double. So the yarn itself is absolutely amazing. She commented in her Ravelry notes, which I find Midori, anytime she's designed something and it's her project, she keeps really good notes. So if you ever have a question, you can kind of peek to see what she did. And she used this exact yarn, exact color, everything. And she had commented my skeins were overweight by, I don't know, my first skein was like 105 or something, I think is what she said. So I was like, okay. She's suggesting 5 skeins, but let me go weigh all mine because I'm gonna make the same size as she made. And I wanna see if I can just do it. So I had 4 skeins of the Linen Quill, Purl Soho Linen Quill in the colorway Poppy. And this is how much I have left. It's like I should have redone it, but it's a deflated, I don't know. I should weigh it. Maybe if I do, I'll put it on the screen. But I had plenty left. I was a little concerned that the sleeves weren't going to be long enough. And I will say that this blocked out beautifully. So when I first think I finished it, it was like a bracelet length, and I don't love that. But I had full faith, and everything was much tighter. So like, I feel like the fit is really great. And everything about it, I really like. Again, I did the size 3. And there is definitely positive ease, but this yarn itself is very squishy and very bouncy. So having blocked it, I'm just trying to think the word, having blocked it, I found no problems. I also, when I was holding it double, decided instead of doing 2 like balls of yarn together, I just did the center and the outside and held them that way. So I only ever had like 1 ball of yarn attached to the sweater at a time. And then I also, once I finished the yoke and the like design of the yoke, because it goes beyond the sleeves, I then put the sweater on hold and did the sleeves, because that always tells me a little bit better how this is gonna fit. My one modification that I did do that I cannot take credit for, another knitter already did this, but I decided I was gonna do a crew neck. So the pattern comes in kind of 2 options. One is a turtleneck, and then one is a boat neck. And I liked the boat neck. Like I was fine if that's how I was gonna do it, but I still wanted a finished neckline. And so The way you do the boat neck is you just basically don't, you basically just weave in your ends. You don't have any like finishing on the neckline. You join your pieces at the shoulder and then that's it. And I wanted it to be a little bit more finished. So I basically picked up and the amount of stitches as if I was going to do the turtleneck, if that makes sense. She says like pick up so many here, pick up so many, you know, in those areas. So I did exactly that. And then I only think I knit like 5 or 6 rows. And then I did an Italian sewn bind off. I was gonna do a tubular bind off, but honestly, I was worried because I hadn't done any of the body. I didn't want to be using extra yarn to be fancy and then like have it not work out. She does say that if you're doing the turtleneck, that you're gonna want an extra stretchy bind off. I find this to be fine. And then I did the same Italian sewn bind off on the cuff. I did on the cuff and the hem. So it has a nice, big, chunky 1x1 ribbing and then the Italian sewn bind off. That is my preference for finishing sweaters. Like I would prefer that finishing touch rather than just bind off in pattern. I don't really love the stretchy bind off, like the just Jenny stretchy bind off as much because I feel like, I guess this is me being picky. When you're wearing it, I don't think it matters. But off, I feel like it kind of flares a little. And again, because I like things a certain way, it just is not my favorite. So I decided to do a different bind off. This is stretchy by all means, and I don't think it really affects much of anything, but that's just the modifications I made. Like I said, I used the exact same yarn as Midori did, and I'm just so happy with how it turned out. I really think it's a very beautiful sweater. Some things that you guys may or may not know if you're not familiar with this pattern, she also writes it so that you could do, in her notes of the pattern, you could do a no sleeve or a short sleeve, and then you could also use a lighter weight yarn. So she even gives one of her samples is in, I want to say like a lace weight or a fingering weight. So it's very airy. So there's a lot of options, much like her ranunculus sweater that you can do with this one. And I just really think it's cute. I think the tulip pattern is really nice. And I really like it. I like it a lot. I'm happy with how it turned out. I really think that the decreases in the sleeves are like just the perfect amount. Like they're a little bit on the tighter side, but not in a bad way. I think that's probably that my tension honestly is different than in the body, but it's fine. So that is my Tulip Guernsey pattern by Midori Hirose. I love it. I can't write. I'm dreaming of like other versions of this sweater. I really enjoyed knitting it, and it has like a lot of interest and a lot of fun. You do have to seam the sleeves. And my kind of recommendation for that is just be on a flat surface so that you can really see like what you're doing instead of trying to like go on the fly and not do that. And yeah, I think it would be really, really cute as a short sleeve. Like had I made this short sleeve, it would be like still to about here. Again, it's gonna sit differently because it's not gonna have the weight of the sleeve kind of pulling it down. But I really think I like it a lot. Now, technically, I probably could have knit a size 2 and it would have been a more fitted sweater, but again, that's not really how I like to wear my sweaters, but it would have been an option for sure. But I'm happy how this turned out. So I encourage you to knit it. I really think that it was a fun knit and it didn't take too long. I had a few other stuff going on, which is kind of why I took a while making it, but I'm really happy with the final sweater. And like I said, I had some yarn left over, so that was perfect. If I ever was like unhappy with the sleeves, which I actually think they're perfect, I could have made them longer. So that made me happy, and I didn't feel like the body was too short or anything. And you do have the pattern on the back as well. It's nice. So there you go. Okay, let's talk about what I've been working on. I hung it up just so that we can see it a little bit better. But I've been working on the diamond jacket. This is a pattern by Ventzel. It is a round neck cardigan. This is it comes in quote unquote, I think 4 sizes. It really comes in 2 different cast on sizes, either a small, medium, or a large, extra large. And the difference in sizes is really the width of your sweater. So in theory, maybe it wouldn't be so hard to imagine what a larger size would need to be, but it is not size inclusive. And then I believe the difference between like the small, medium, and the large, extra large, although I'm not to that point, is either the sleeve length or maybe even the body length. So maybe you are knitting the small not as long as the medium is what I mean, but it's gonna be the same like width and everything. So it's a slight variation, kind of when people do like the hat where they're like, oh, this fits like small and medium, but you just knit it different lengths. So it's kind of that same, I think, thought process. It has an all over cable pattern, and I'm using Knit Picks Wonderfluff in the color Wellies. And it is a bulky weight yarn that's blown in, and it is alpaca, nylon, and wool, merino wool. And I've had a lot of fun knitting this. I've had a lot of fun making this sweater. I will say that I'm kind of in the tedious, just back and forth right now. Once I go to pick up sleeves and knit in the round, it is going to probably be more of a pain, I think, because it is mostly, if you kind of look, it's mostly almost like a garter stitch with like cables throughout. So it's a lot of knitting. And I'm thinking once I switch to the sleeves, it's going to be kind of both, which might be a pain. Not sure how I'm gonna feel about that. I also think it might be cute just no sleeves. Like I will put sleeves on it, but I also think just as a little finish the collar and then no sleeves, because it has a nice kind of finished edge right here that you could forego sleeves if you wanted and just have a vest. So that is kind of my progress. I finished both sides and now I'm just back and forth on the body. I will say that I, at one point, I think reached out to Anne and had asked like, will you ever go back and make this pattern size inclusive? And she said no, but with her future patterns, she's trying to be more size inclusive, and which I have seen. It's not up to like the most size inclusive, but I have seen the difference. Okay, so that was my diamond jacket by Ventzel. And like I said, I've been working on it here and there, but life has been happening and I haven't been able to knit as much as I wanted. So hopefully that will see a little bit more progress. I will say that, especially right this minute, it is very beautiful weather in Portland right now. It's been really rainy and gross for the last few days, but now that it's nice outside, it always ends up triggering the like, I want to knit something for warm weather, which I'm sure we all feel at various times of year. So, so with that being said, let's get in to some book reviews. First off, I wanted to share with you guys knitting stylish stuff from your stash. And let me tell you, when I was trying to record just the very beginning, like, hello, trying to say knitting stylish stuff from your stash truly was a tongue twister. Okay, so this is by Erica Berntsen, and you may know her from Instagram. So you may know Erica from Instagram as Burnt Knitwear, BERNT Knitwear. And she really has some very cute, vibrant things. She, I think, is in some way affiliated with the Knit app, but let's talk about it. So this is her latest book. I saw her talking about this, or rather sharing this on Instagram in her native language. So I was waiting for the English version to come out, and it finally did. There are 20 projects in here, and I will say they are not necessarily size inclusive. I think this can be kind of a difficult type of guide for scrap knitting because you never know what like yarn and everything people are using. So I often look at books like this as more of a recipe or a suggestion or a way to get inspired, rather than it being like, this is the sweater you're gonna get, this is how you're gonna do it, etc., just because there's so many unknowns. So I would look at this like a guide rather than a like pattern book. So some really cool things. If you look at the cover, she has this beautiful, a bunch of different swatches, and she actually shares how to make like a little bag from your swatches, for example. So there's a lot of like very clever ways of using your stash. She talks about kind of tension and gauge and how to mix your colors to kind of get the best looking garment that you can. She also gives tips on if you are going to maybe unravel a sweater that you've purchased, etc., to reuse that yarn. So there's a lot of like reuse happening in this book, which I like. So there is several patterns, and again, these are not all size inclusive, but she does show like, okay, how you calculate, for example, the number of stitches you're gonna need to cast on. So there's some very like basic math knitting things to kind of share with you, and I think that's really nice. One of the really cute patterns that she has is this sunset over the city sweater. It is a brioche design, and this is actually one of the sweaters that caught my eye when she was kind of teasing the book. It's oversized, and I really think it's just a fun use of color. She marls various yarns in here. It looks like she has kind of one main color, but then she's marling oranges and dark reds and maroons throughout. And I just think that's super fun. And it looks like if you look carefully at the, if you look carefully at the actual sweater, you can see there's several strands of yarn to get gauge here. And it looks like, for example, this sweater's gauge is 9 stitches. So it's a very large gauge sweater that you're just using up as much yarn as you can. There is another sweater called the Cables and Coffee sweater, which I thought was really pretty. Part of it kind of reminds me, it's very different, but it kind of gives this vibe of like the crisscross cables with a fairly like neutral background. And I really like, again, her use of color here and her use of various yarns. Trying to find some non-sweater. There is a vest, and then there is a dicky, a cardigan, this really cool colorwork sweater. This one is really cute. It's like a 1x1 colorwork. So there's a lot of different various garments. She also has like a very cute dicky, and I know that there's like a hat and a few other things. So while it isn't size inclusive, you could use this as a jumping off point just to kind of get ideas. This one is really cool. You can make a cardigan with your swatches, and she kind of tells you how to lay it out for that. So again, not size inclusive so much, but it does give you things to think about and how you can use your stash in different ways. I know, like for me, even like with this sweater, so I have this much yarn, like this isn't enough to make something, right? I could marl it, I could use it for stripes and something, but in and of itself, it's not going to be enough. But it just gives me the thought of like how you can use your various little bits of yarn all together. And I really do think she does a good job of like giving tips on like what to look for when you're picking out colors, what to look out for when you're trying to decide like, do you have enough yarn for a project? Like what would you do if you ran out? Like kind of processing that with you, I think is really nice. And then if I was a better swatcher, you make this cute bag or the cute cardigan. So just gives you some ideas. Maybe I'll be a better swatcher this year and not use my garment as a swatch and actually swatch, so that I can make something cute like this at the end of the year. That would be ideal, right? So I just wanted to share it with you because I do think that many of us are leaning towards trying to create less waste with our projects or kind of leaning into maybe not having to like purchase all the time, but really like be mindful of our makes. And I really liked that. A little bit later on in the year, I will be fully reviewing this book, but there is a brand new book by Laine Magazine called 52 Weeks of Scrap Yarn. It is coming out. It's up for pre-order right now. And again, they have a lot of different garments, a lot of accessories, which I appreciate. But again, it's just that helping you use your yarn the most that you can. And I think also looking at these projects from a standpoint of possibly advents. A lot of people got the advents in the last year or so, and you know, what do you do with it? I made one sweater with my advent, which I thought was really fun, and it was a fun challenge to see like, you know, how much yarn I could use of it and really use it in that way. So I just encourage you to check this book out because I really did think it had some really great tips besides the patterns. And it's just even little things like how to make a yarn center pole yarn ball and different things where it's just, I think sometimes if you've knit for a long time, you take stuff like that for granted, having that bit of knowledge that maybe newer knitters don't have. And so it just definitely gives you a way to look at things a little bit differently. So I wanted to recommend that book. And then let's talk about Laine Magazine. But before we do, I wanted to introduce you guys to a brand. First off, I reached out to them because I was so excited by their products and really love them so much and wanted to share them with you guys and would share them with you guys regardless if I had any affiliation with them because I do love them so much. So as you saw me put on the Hyaluronic Lip Booster by OSEA, it really does. Like, I always feel that my lips are a little bit more plumped. They look more hydrated. I really love this. Like, absolutely so much. And then I have been recently using their body products for the first time. So they have a Undaria Algae Body Wash and a body oil, which is like, smells like heaven, and a body butter that I've been using. This also is really great if you are knitting and your hands are really dry. This is amazing. It will make your hands feel so soft but not oily, which I really like. And then from them, I actually purchased for my husband this kit. That's the Vegas kit, and it comes with a nerve oil, a bath oil, and a pillow spray. And these are really amazing, especially if you have anxiety, don't we all? Just as a little reset, you can certainly put the nerve oil on your hands, breathe it in, and do that as you sit down to knit. Have a little nice ritual for yourself. So I wanted to share those with you. And so right now they are doing a free gift with purchase. If your order is over $90, then you get a free Cleanse and Hydrate travel duo. So I wanted to let you guys know about that. I will put my link in the description box below. And also real quickly, if you have not yet done so, I do have a newsletter. The newsletter is just from my podcast episodes where I will put all of the links of every single thing I talk about, whether it is a link to this pattern, a link to the yarn, any products I ever share, anything like that, you will always get it sent to your email so that you don't have to write anything down or try to remember anything I talk about. It just is sent to you. And this also includes when I do those big videos that are like 25 patterns, which I think is super helpful because then you don't have to like try and remember or try and save or stop whatever you're doing to write something down or look it up. You can just enjoy that to your email box generally right after the episode is posted. So I wanted to let you guys know that is available to you as well. And there is a link to sign up for the newsletter in the description of this video. Okay, so let's talk about Laine Magazine. So you guys, I really am so excited for this particular issue. I have found out in general that I tend to really be drawn to the spring summer issues of some of the magazines that are available. And I don't know exactly why that is. I don't know if it's because it's springtime and beginning of the, like, to me, it's the beginning of the year. It's in kind of the same time as my birthday. And so all these things, it's like the newness of the new plants and all these things, right? Part of myself feels like spring is the new year. So with that, I find myself doing a lot of spring cleaning and organizing and just getting myself together. And I really enjoy these spring, summer issues from these magazines. A lot of them are transitional pieces where you can really wear them year round, or just depending on even what you knit something in, you could take it to winter if you wanted, or you could keep it that lightweight piece. So I really think there's a ton of really great options. So let's talk about, okay, first of all, this is the kind of cover sweater, if you will. It is a cute, beautiful lace cardigan. And this pattern is just honestly so cute. Okay, this is the Fuja. It is named such after kind of the lace pattern, looks like a tree motif. And I just really thought, especially how they have this styled, it's just a very nice, like you could dress it up or you could wear it like this very casually. I just think it's a really great shaped cardigan. It definitely looks very lightweight, very airy. So it really, you could wear this year round. And I just thought it was so nice. And this is by Sarah Solomon. And then, okay, so I don't like to pick favorites, but I think this one might be my favorite. I'm not sure. Honestly, there's so many good patterns in here, but this one is like what grabbed me. So this is called Ventzel, and it is a really cool construction I'm gonna tell you about. So this is a beautiful sweater where they are using, let's see if you can see it better there. But in this sweater, she's holding 2 strands of the same yarn, and she is basically, as you knit to create these beautiful columns, you kind of like only knit behind the column of this kind of like drop stitch looking stitch. You use only one of the strands and then the other strands coming across. So it's like incredibly clever. I could even imagine if you wanted to, you could marl 2 colors that are very close. Maybe like a pink and a lavender, for example, and then always like drop the pink, like knit it, not drop the pink, but knit it behind. So you would have like a marled column and then like a light of one of the colors. I think could look really cool. But this one really truly like just grabbed me. I think it's so clever. It's a raglan style construction, again with that really just neat detail, and I just think it's fabulous. And then the other one that was really like, and Bamboozle is by Paula Pereira. And then we have this other pattern by Heidi Kastner. It's Flecks of Sunshine, and this one is screaming. Like, it is such a great transitional piece. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it will look beautiful in black. I really like this bright orange color that they used, but I really, really think it would be so much fun in a dark color. And I really like, there's a few things. So I love this collar detail where it has this like little bit of like split collar. And then of course the sleeve is just gorgeous. I think this shape of sweater is very, very flattering on anyone. I really like the voluminous sleeves, and I think that always makes kind of, I always think it's flattering. The pattern itself is knit with, so the pattern is knit with Lena by Sandisgarn, and or you could use a worsted weight yarn. So if you have followed me for any amount of time, I'm sure you know that I'm in love with Illimani Sabri, and I would use that, I think. I would use that to make this sweater. I think it would turn out really beautifully. They have 2 different weights, so you could play around with whether you wanted to hold the fingering weight double or if you wanted to go with the heavier weight yarn from them. But I really think it would make an absolutely gorgeous sweater. It really grabs me. I would say my only hang up, and this is me, is the sleeve length. I'm not a fan. I wish it was longer or, I don't know, shorter. I don't know. But this like just before the bracelet, or bracelet length, is a little not me. So I would change that in some way. But other than that, I think it's a really great sweater. I think the little split detail for the neckline is gorgeous. I just love it. And I think it would just be, again, so flattering on so many people. So that was my, like, I don't know. I shouldn't rank them. I won't rank them. I like that one too a lot. Okay. And then we have Celsi by Sophie Hemmings. This one is kind of like a very wearable everyday sweater. It does have a really cool detail. So on the kind of shoulder and down to the body right here, you have all this ribbing, which is just gives it a nice detail for a somewhat what could be considered a very basic looking sweater. But you have this beautiful, again, V here on the back of the sweater, and then it goes under the arm as well. Let me find the picture that I was thinking of that kind of shows that better here. So you have that detail again under the arm as well. So I thought that was so pretty, something just a little bit different. Also having that kind of more open stitch is going to create a lighter like feeling garment and make it more wearable. And then of course they have some socks and various other designs that are beautiful, but those are the ones that truly stood out for me. Those were like, but I could cast it on immediately. And again, this Paula Pereira bamboozle, that's a good one. I guess it's one of those things where it like unlocks something for you, right? Because yeah, I've knit, like this is knit with 2 strands of yarn, but I never would have thought to like leave one unknit and then knit the other one behind it and like have like, what a cool detail. That's all, like, I love it when people like blow my mind with things. And then I thought this was very sweet. Cheryl Mokatari, the Amber cardigan. You could make this long or short. They have it short. So I thought this was really a cute top. I also think you might be able to get away with wearing it backwards and have that down the back. Of course, it would depend on the construction, but I think that you maybe could, and that could be really fun. So I had to share that. But that is the latest issue of Laine Magazine. They have some really great articles in this. They have one that is all about, there is a software engineer that also loves to knit, and how she feels that knitting and coding are very similar tools. And I thought that was really interesting. There's a beautiful shawl that I'll share the shawl too really quickly. So by Julia Wilkins, it's called The Modernist, and it's a striped shawl. I thought you could really do something fun if you had like an advent. I don't know what the weight of yarn is, but I do think that if you had like an advent, you could maybe play around with an advent calendar with this one. Okay, so it's a lace weight, fingering weight yarn. So you could use like maybe one of your fingering weight advents. So I thought that would be a really cool use of it. You could have that one kind of, they have the natural color of yarn in between the stripes to kind of break it up and have some cohesiveness, but you could just go for it and just go for it with your advent and do a bunch of different stripes. But I thought that was really cool. So I wanted to share that one with you as well. So that is the spring 2025 issue of Laine Magazine. I really like this one. I really think, honestly, if we had the time, I would show you every single pattern and tell you how much I love each one, because they really are all very beautiful. They have some really great designers in this issue. I just love it. Okay, let's do 2 kind of things real quickly. I am doing a DESTASH. I have posted it in my stories on Instagram, but I now have it on Ravelry. If Ravelry is not accessible to you and you see something that I share, you can email me and we can figure it out that way. But I thought I would share what I still have for right now. So I have a Hazel Knits mohair bundle. It is an electric slide colors, bright purple. And a lot of the ones that I have are just bundles because that's how I'm doing it. So I think originally I had wanted to do the Cecilia sweater by Lena Samso. I thought this would be really pretty. It's very light lace weight. Could also, I have House of Alamode's Vintage Floral. It is a cotton lino yarn and cotton linen yarn. And you could maybe do something with these. I think would be really pretty. I have a Treehouse Knits bundle still. It's got a sock yarn, and then 2 mohairs. Originally, I was thinking I would do a kind of backwards birds of a feather with this. So there's that. I have the Wandering Flock bundle. This has 2 mohairs and a finger solo fingering. And again, I was kind of thinking like some sort of riff on birds of a feather because I really think this mohair knit by itself would be absolutely stunning. Treehouse Knits Yak Silk. I thought I would make a Tanya out of this, but I never got around to it. It's really beautiful. The color is called Running Up That Hill. It is a like gorgeous, gorgeous red burgundy. Another set. This is a Remember Me mohair by Treehouse Knits and a sock set. I pretty I don't know what's going on here. I feel like this is a Remember Me skein too, and it might be just mislabeled. So it says Ofrenda, but honestly, if you see it with the mohair, you would think they were the same. One more Treehouse Knits sport. I was going to make a mini mock neck with this beautiful colorway Dante. It's like a black and brown and gray. It's really, really pretty. And then I have this Ching fiber, 2 different ones. It's a colorway Fossil and the colorway Moody. And it's kind of they're very similar. I thought it would be pretty in some sort of faded shawl. So that's what I have still. If you are interested in any of those, let me know. Like email me or message me on Instagram or on Ravelry. You can send me a message by just clicking on the stash, will trade sell. And then if you like something, I think there's a way to just like message from there and it'll tell me like what it is you were interested in. So that's an option. Last but not least, I have been working very hard on getting my certification in human design. And I have studied human design, which is a system based on astrology and different things, since 2018. And I've done charts and stuff previously, but I wanted to kind of ground myself in a program. And so I just finished a program and got a certification for that. And I am going to be taking on 4 new clients for the month of March, which is almost over. So I have 4 slots. If you're interested in doing a one-on-one human design session with me, I will link my website for that below. And for my first few clients, I will be offering a discount. So message me that you saw me on YouTube and we can talk about that. So thank you again. I have just been in the like process of like refreshing everything. So kind of getting rid of things that are just not bringing me joy, or even like some of these projects, some of these yarns, for example, I really want to knit. If I had enough time, enough hands, and knew I would wear the item when it was done, I would probably hold on to it. But I just know like I'm not going to. And the stress of just looking at the stash going, oh, like that should be knit. Someone should have it. So that's what I've been kind of doing. Spring cleaning, if you will. And just getting rid of the things that are not serving me right now. So that is what I've been up to. I'm almost done with Severance. Probably by the time this posts, I will have watched the last episode. I started it and had a pause because I was gonna fall asleep. Not because it was boring, but I was just so tired. And I've really been enjoying that. It's weird in a great way. Like it's greatly weird. And I really do appreciate it. I imagine that if you were like into Twin Peaks type of like just strangeness, you may like this one. So I've been watching that on Apple and just have been enjoying that. Okay, so I make these episodes every 2 weeks. Remember, if you go to OSEA, use my link. You can also add code WestMaven10 to your order for, I believe, 10% off your first order. And You will also get that gift if you spend over $90, and that ends, I believe, at the end of this month. Other than that, you guys, I really hope that you have a beautiful weekend. I hope that your knitting is bringing you joy as it has me. And yeah. So if we're not yet knitting besties, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and please like this video. It tells YouTube that other fiber enthusiasts like yourself enjoy this type of content. Until then, make some yarn magic. Bye.